Oh my goodness, dude. Um, all right, boys. I think we're ready to launch here. So are you good to go, Rogan?
Yeah, I'm good. I think.
Okay, last minute checks. I'm looking sexy on the webcam.
Hello, stop lingo.
Dude, look at the little sheep just gather.
I know.
They're starting to gather, dude.
Starting to gather on the streets in the dirty mud. As Colter just
yeah. I'm about to just let you guys hear us from on high. We're about to let it rip. Are you good, Rogan?
Yeah, we're good.
Do you want to launch?
Yeah, go for it.
Good to see you here, Lingo. All right, dude. I'm gonna start recording in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, boys and girls, to the Flow State Gaming Podcast, the #1 up-and-coming Valorant podcast on the internet. You have stumbled across episode 13. Of course, joining me, well, I'll introduce myself first. I am, of course, Astro. People in real life call me Colter Fair. Along with me is my good friend, Rogan Prescott.
Well, Colter, I heard you loud and clear, man. And I am proud to say it was a good one. It was a great one.
Was that a decent intro? The people have been clamoring for more.
Yeah. I think we need to feed them crumbs, Like you have so much more in you, but you're holding so much back.
Oh, so much untapped potential, dude. Yeah, very, very true.
The absolute girth that you could muster from your mouth.
Oh, dude, it's coming from it's not even a chest. It's more of it's coming from my belly, dude. And I can go deeper, dude. I can get it. I can start to creep down into the groin area if that's what it takes. Anyways, guys, episode 13. I'm excited to be here. I know Rogan is as well. And
I think this episode, dude, should be like our second episode.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's 13.
We should have been covering this a lot earlier. Here we are.
It's the starter pack 5,000.
Yes.
The terrible name for it.
It's a very appropriate title. We're going to be tackling some issues that some beginners are having, because we've had a few peasants ask some of the simple questions about the game, and so we're going to be covering some basics here. If you're new to the game,
it's kind of like all the fundamentals of Valorant. I think it's not strictly for beginners. I would say
it's not for a beginner. I misspoke. You're right.
Yeah.
Tell the people what it is, dude.
It's just pretty much aiming, how to get better, what agents to play if you want to, succeed. It'll be just an all-around overview of Valorant in a whole, and talking about kind of what pro players use, why are they good at the game? Why are you getting absolutely walloped over and over? And
yeah,
it's pretty much just a starting guide. So.
And we do have some fat announcements, before we get into things. But I should mention, we got looking at the analytics. The peeking and aiming episode of ours went over very well with the audience. So we're hoping that this kind of has a similar effect. That seems like you guys liked that episode, looking at the data. So again, we should have done this earlier, but we're here now, and I'm excited about it. Do you have a hot drink this evening, Rogan? I see you sipping on something hot. For those who don't know, for those on your podcast apps, we are now live every Tuesday roughly around 7 Pacific Central, obviously. So just a heads up on that.
Just around then.
Do you got a hot drink tonight, man?
Well, it was hot. I always anticipate it wrong, man. I always make it too early. So it's just a frigid cold coffee. Last week I made a bad decision, man. It was 8 shots last week. I may have said it wrong, but every time I talk about Valorant and I have caffeine, I'm not going to go to bed.
Yeah.
And especially since, I work Wednesdays. So every Wednesday I'm just completely hammered and I'm getting 3 hours of sleep with, feeling pretty trashy. So
that's tough.
I need to just tone it down. And, who knows? Someday I might transition to a woman like you have and, drink the drink that you so often do drink. And what are you drinking tonight, Colter?
Well, yes, the people probably do want to know what I've been drinking recently and what I have tonight. I mean, it's a similar flavor, but with a different twist, right? So it is, of course, piping hot, and it is, of course, decaf, and it just so happens to be a medium roast that has a name. I'll just come out and say it. It is a Pike's Place roast. And it is a little different tonight as I ran out of creamer last week. So, of course, I didn't have time to go to the store. No cream, no sugar. We're taking it just raw. Right, and that's why I've been running with a medium roast. If that sucker is a dark roast, dude, like some espresso style roast, that will just hammer you if you're taking it raw. You know what I'm saying, dude? That will tear you up.
Well, I mean, you've had some personal experience.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it. So I kind of stick it to, the medium roast world. I do want some suggestions, right? Because I don't always want to be drinking this DPPR, decaf Pike's Place roast, obviously. And so if there are suggestions in the chat of, a clean, a nice crisp, slightly fruity, tangy on the back end, medium to medium dark roast that conveniently comes in a decaf, I may be interested, right? You can send it to me if we get a PO box. Or, we can give you Eric Sullivan's home address and let him get the unwanted mail, but he'll give us the Pike's Place. So if that comes into fruition, we can make something like that happen. But yeah, dude, no, it's nice to have a hot drink. It's been snowing here, so it's a nice feeling this evening. Do you have any announcements to get out of the way this week, brother?
I think I've not many big announcements, man. I have been getting absolutely smacked by the amount of trashy teams out there. It is insane. Literally round 3, someone is just trying to surrender, just screaming that get better, kids, when he's bottom frag,
Yes.
And then you just have a Smurf on the other team who's 30-2. And it's just like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And it's just like, what do you do?
Brutal.
You don't do anything. And there's a point, dude, I think that's a problem I have with Valorant is when you get bad teams, it's not fun. It's not fun. It's great to be able to communicate and talk with your team. But when they're just trash,
that is a big part of the game, indeed. Have you moved at all in the ranks of Valorant?
I am Platinum 3. I have not reached. I have reached Diamond, but then I dropped, and I'm not anywhere.
You got smacked.
I got smacked.
Got smacked.
Yeah. Yep. I got smacked.
But Elliot, dude, you're right there, though. I mean, give it some time, and you'll be back in the
I don't have
diamond.
time to play, man. It's literally the 13-year-old plebs who just grind every single day, all day.
Yeah. Yep.
And you can't do much. So.
Yep. I know. I
where,
feel it.
Where are you at, Colter? I think you've grown a little bit.
Well,
from last week.
before I get into my announcements, we do have a decaf suggestion from the chat. If you were here live, listener, you would realize this. Timber Rat says the Major Dixon's Pete's decaf is an elixir of the gods. So, Timber Rat, thank you for that suggestion, brother. I will indeed keep it in mind. You're right, Rogan. I did make some moves this week. I feel similar to you in like I feel like time really hinders me here, right? If I could smack this game for more hours, I feel like I could maybe get more rank.
Yeah.
But like I told you guys last week, I did stoop down to your level, right? I came down from the tall castle where I usually abide, and I was amongst the villagers of our kingdom, which was nice. I do want to say that I had a great time with you boys. But I have in fact started my ascent back up into my royal castle. It was nice to be down there. It's just the bedding situation wasn't ideal. Obviously, I wasn't being catered to like I usually do, right? No massages. So, but it was nice to mingle with the silvers. And I got a double rank up, which is kind of a topic of discussion. And I got some data here to show you what happened, why this occurred. So, there I was in silver 2. I was playing with bronzes and whatnot. And at the beginning, I was feeling fairly discouraged. I mean, I was getting clapped by some kids, dude. And then it was weird. I went in on a Friday. Last Friday, I really got some hours in, probably like 4 hours or so. And it was like there was like a shift that happened in the games. Like, so long story short, I ran like 3 games in a row and got match MVP 3 times in a row. And it was like fairly drastic, like near the 400, score range. So for some context, game 1, I went 26-6 with 1 assist. Game 2, I went 22-14-4. And game 3, I went 29-13-5. So that kind of should give you an idea of what a double rank up might look like. I think it's really cool that they did that. Anyway, so that took me to gold 1 once I smacked those 3 games in a row. And I was clapping some cheeks out there, right? And what kind of sucks about this on a serious note is like the other team wasn't having fun at all. Like when I'm going 26-6, it's not a good experience for them. And this really started to come out in the last game. On game 3, I think I probably got reported by a couple of them. They were calling me words that ended up being starred out in the chat. So they were getting fairly toxic. And it's like, I kind of get it, right? I jump in the game. They're like, holy cow, Astro, Plat 1 act rank. Like, what's going on? Why are you running with me? I'm a bronze 3. And I'm like, dude, I couldn't tell you, right? Gnarly placements, I guess. And as the game went on, and I was just absolutely hammering these kids, dude. I was just a raccoon. I had my claws out, and it was the brimstone, especially, dude. He got riled up, dude. His name is Hot Cheeto Boy 999. If you are listening, brother, it was nothing personal, dude. But I'm telling you, I was behind this kid like the raccoon I am. I just had my claws just dug into each cheek and just smacking them, dude. Just clapping his cheeks from behind, dude. He could not help himself. He was locked down on a table, dude. The sound of his cheeks clapping was like It was similar to like what I would call like a lawnmower. It was just nasty, dude. So I feel bad. He had a terrible game, right? They probably got demoted. It was like we ended these games at like 13-4, 13-6. But that is what happened on Friday. So I have started my ascent back up. That's sorry, I went off on a little tangent there, but I think it's interesting that they incorporated this. Like obviously if you're doing really well, that double up rank is going to help move the Smurfs along, you know? So I think
Yeah.
it's a good thing.
Yeah, very true.
But I think that's about all for the announcements.
That's about all the cheeks that were clapped this last week.
Dude, his cheeks must have been bloody by the time I was finished, dude.
Would you say it's more like a jackhammer than a lawnmower, or?
Well, it did have the force, you know, like the vibration of a
the
jackhammer,
torque,
but
yeah.
it was like a combustion engine, dude.
Wow. Like a Honda?
Dude. It was like waking up on a Monday morning and just a lawnmower next door is just going off. And that was this boy's cheeks, dude. The vibration must have been, you know, interesting for him. But
to say the least.
Moving on, dude. We did get a few updates, some surprise updates. Right after we did the pod last week, there was a little patch came out.
A little unfortunate. We like pretty much
the timing was off.
Yeah, the timing was off.
Yeah. So we're going to cover those just really quickly. I mean, there wasn't a huge, I mean, that's not true. There were some updates and we're going to clear it up right now. So you're going to take the lead on this. It looks like there was some AFK penalties that you want to talk about here.
This was applied actually like today, I think, or yesterday.
Okay. So really recent.
On Twitter, on Valorant. This is in quotes. We just fixed a bug where AFK penalties were not being applied. So if you suddenly find yourself with an hour-long ban, it's because your bad habits just caught up to you. So that's cool. I think we saw the patch notes about like them implementing those changes, but I guess they weren't in effect because of a bug. So if you are experiencing fat bans, get smacked, kids, because that's what you guys deserve. Seeing this is pretty cool, man. I think there's a lot of AFKers, you know? A lot of AFKers, especially in unrated. And I think that's why people don't like playing unrated, is because you just get those people who leave the match round 2, you know, because they don't care.
Right.
So if there's going to be penalties now, it's going to be different. It's going to prevent that. So I think that's a good change. I'm glad that's finally added now. So that's in right now. Do you have any other? It was Split, dude. Split was a big boy. Big
Split
updates. Huge updates to Split.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my little thoughts on those AFK penalties, that's really good. I'm happy to hear it. That's all I have to say about that. But Split was pretty insane, dude. There are some people in the Valorant community that have, you know, they're in the higher echelon of the Valorant community are saying like this is almost a full rework of Split. For the reason that like almost every single area that you find yourself, you know, having a gunfight in, everywhere that the battle takes place is changed in some way. So I don't really know. We didn't talk about how we want to clear this up, like how we want to move through the changes. But I think as a general thing that we could say here is they took out a lot of like the deep cubbies and the deep corners that you could play in, and it made it a lot more easier for the attacking side. That would be kind of an overall, you know, summary of what happened. Are you looking to move through the changes like one by one here, Rogan, or do you want to what are you thinking? Because
I
I mean,
think
pretty much the whole map was changed.
yeah, the whole map. I don't think we should go through each one. I also think like the deep cubbies were removed. I think we both talked about this, Colter, is when you go and push through. Oh,
Oh my goodness.
that's not my son. That's my nephew.
Well, it might be your son. That's to be determined, but yeah.
But pretty much when you like walk into an area, you usually get smacked by like either side, right? And when you do, it's like you're exposed to both sides. So I think they kind of cleared up those angles where you can clear one side before pushing through. And then it's just, I think it's a lot easier on the attacking side for sure. Just being able to clear each area a lot more kind of smoothly, not feeling kind of hopeless or worthless to do anything. They cleared up B site a ton, which I think is probably the biggest change of the entire map. Is opening up garage. They opened it, made it wider, added a couple boxes on site. I think that B site was always hard for me to take. I think, like if you had a Cypher playing there or even a Killjoy, I don't know about you, but I feel like you're always just you have nowhere to go. You know, you're lost. Kind of in our split overview episode, it's like you have nowhere to go. So
yeah, no, you really couldn't take B very well unless you went mid. That was that was a well-known fact of split. Like, you know, a 5-man through garage was very, very rare to see.
yeah,
But yeah, B site especially got a lot of changes. So when Rogan said they made B garage wider, like the entry onto site, that hallway that you have to pass through is significantly wider, and there's an added box. There's an added box in that hallway. And then right when you break out to on site, there's the boxes of right on the left-hand side. And then there was that deep corner right after those boxes that now has a single box there. So there's no longer that super deep corner. Like Rogan mentioned, there was a lot of wrist snapping. A lot of like left right snapping that you had to do on this map, because right when you came out of that hallway, you're checking for heaven, obviously, and then you also had to check that left side. So they made a few changes like this throughout the map. Yeah, like
dude, overall, I think it was amazing. I was kind of surprised. It really changes it. I almost feel more comfortable, like being able to like find different spots.
Yeah, I think people just really need to go to, Valorant.com, click on news, click on patch 2.01 and look at this, because it's there's too much to cover.
Yeah.
So
they have images of like the old and the new. It makes it really clear and be able to see the changes. So definitely check that out. For the most
part, just way more open. Way more open. A lot less corners to hide in. A heaven has been changed a lot. Dude, I think what's your hot take, just like a few minutes, on how you think this is going to affect A, the changes that were made here? They really changed A heaven, as well as even sight and screens. Like A got a lot of changes as well. Do you have any thoughts on that you want to
I think they made heaven really strong for attackers. I think you can take a heaven very easily from ramps now,
because they made it easier.
Yeah, they made it so that right side, if you're pushing through heaven, it's a slanted wall now, so it pretty much takes off a whole angle that you can use, or a whole cubby. On site, they made it. They kind of pushed that angled wall that's on site a little in. Hard to explain, but from heaven you can see that far right side. If you're looking from heaven down to A site, you can see who's in that corner if you look onto rafters.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely attackers sided. Not, I would say like the update's more attackers sided. I don't know how balanced it is. I think it's definitely more balanced than it was.
Yeah.
I feel like I haven't played it much enough. I've just been getting Icebox over and over and over.
Yeah, that's rough.
Five icebox games in a row.
Really?
Yeah.
Yikes, dude. That's not fun.
Yep. Anyone like who hates icebox, please let me know because we can just kind of talk about it, and feel each other's pain. I'm not a fan.
What's your out of 10 rating? What do you this is huge. What are you saying out of 10? 1 being just absolute dog water and 10 being, a great map. What are you calling it?
For icebox, I would put it at like a 5.5.
Ooh,
it's pretty
not
low.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, it's a topic for another time, dude.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
What would you put it at?
I feel like I would probably, I'm right in there with you, man. Yeah, a 6, a 5 or a 6. I've had some fun experiences, but overall, I'm not excited when it pops up.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, man, I feel really similar to you on A. It seems like heaven is going to be hard to hold for the defenders. And just with that back corner of, A site being, you're able to clear it from heaven. That's a big change. And then coming out of screens again, if you're walking out of screens, there's that right-hand side that you had to clear before you could push elbow. And again, that was just another right-left snap that you had to make. So I'm really happy to see that out because there's nothing more annoying than being killed from that little stupid corner. So I like that a lot. Do you have anything else that you want to say about Split? Anything that really, I didn't get to play it very much either, dude. I played it one time, in fact, and it was in ranked. And the match only lasted 5 rounds because I was absolutely just smacking cheeks, dude. I was like 8-0 and they just surrendered. So welcome to silver, baby. 5 round surrender. And we were on defense too, man. I was like, they didn't even give it a shot. But yeah, I really want to get more game time in on it and get a feel for it. But overall, I think me and you both really like this change.
Yeah, for sure. It just opens up the map. I'm just excited for what it's going to bring too.
Yeah. Yeah. So moving on, Jet got a little change, not huge, but it does impact her. I want your thoughts on this. Her smokes got changed from a 7-second duration to 4.5. What are your thoughts here?
I don't play Jet at all. It's Jet's a interesting character. It's kind of cool. Riot, I think Jet to me plays like her own agent, right? Or she just doesn't play with her team as much. She's a duelist, right? She just goes for frags. So her smokes were 7 seconds, which is huge, Like that's a full smoke for your team, right?
Yeah.
And then they decreased it to 4.2 seconds. 4.5 seconds. Yeah. So I think they just made it more of like you have to use those smokes more for yourself, not for your team. So like when you're smoking cat for me, or when you just smoke cat, and when I say I'm going to smoke cat, you shouldn't do that as much.
When I just conveniently add that nice cream filling,
I hate that
into your Omen smoke, it's not going to be there for very long, boys.
So I think it's going to change up the way smokes are played. So it's like you have Brim, unable to do one ways, unable to be more precise on his smokes. You guys really need to tune into the stream if you guys wanted to see what Colter did there. I'll leave it up for an Easter egg.
Yeah, you guys can dig in the archives, episode 13. You'll figure out why Rogan just couldn't. He was just left speechless.
Well,
just left speechless.
It's hard to talk after that.
Sorry. Yeah, go on. Yeah, compose yourself.
What was I saying?
You were
Okay,
just
so-
saying that
yeah,
our
no, I
smokes
got
are
you.
short
Shut
and
up.
Brim is gonna.
All right, so Brim has long smokes. Omen is able to put one ways down, and they're hollow inside, right? So I think every smoke's gonna be played differently. I really like that, how they're gonna do that. You know,
Yeah.
so it's like a jet smoke was almost too similar to like Omen in a way,
You mean
or
Brim?
yeah, that's what I meant. You know,
Yeah,
they're just
I
like
know.
it's like the same smokes.
Yeah. No, it is. It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
I don't think it affects her really at all. You know,
Well,
it
yeah,
it does,
no,
but
not
I'm saying
huge.
it's not
You're
it's
right.
not like a sage nerf.
No, I
Nothing is
well,
like that.
nothing's quite like a sage nerf. Yeah, you're very very right. Do you have any other thoughts here?
What are your thoughts, dude? You're a jet main. How does this? Do you feel like you play her differently now? Do you like use her smokes in different ways, or have you just not really noticed it?
I really haven't noticed it much. I've kind of always tried to use her smokes in a way that's useful, like being a short smoke. I've always kind of felt like they were short. I honestly didn't realize that they were 7 seconds. I mean, that was fairly substantial. I mean, I think Omen is coming in at what, 11 seconds?
Yeah.
So, I mean, Jet Smoke was like in the ballpark. What was happening, because I get down and dirty in the dirt and I do some research. Pro teams were totally taking a controller out of their team comp and like scrimming with using just Jet as the smoker. And so they were placing her smokes down, like people that were getting, really accurate in placing them, like controlling them and putting them down where they want. And then they were just executing really fast and taking control of, big portions of the map using only the jet smoke. And
Mm-hmm.
it was resulting in, a team running like 4 duelists and a sentinel or something. And I think, the devs have made it clear that they're trying to stay away from that, right? They don't want a 5-man duelist team. Like they want it, I think, to be a little more structured than that. So I think overall, even though I am a jet main, and I obviously don't love this, I think it's good for the game.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do notice it. I would like drop a smoke for like a teammate or myself when I was, planting or defusing. It was kind of a good way to just get some quick cover or confuse the enemy, etc. But you can barely get the plant down before that thing is going to clear up.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I do notice it, but I don't think, I think she's still going to be used a lot. I think she's still a great agent, and it wasn't at all the defining feature of her kit. But I think she will feel this nerf a little bit. But
Yeah.
I
7
think it's good.
seconds. You could pretty much give a smoke for your entire team. It's pretty
Yeah.
insane. I like
know.
how they're just putting the agents kind of more in their place. Like they want the
Yeah.
sentinel to be necessary on a team. They want the initiator to be, if you don't have an initiator, you're not going to be able to take side as well.
Yeah,
I think they
completely
really
agree.
want that more. So,
But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. We got another little update here, and it's that players that are chat banned, either in text or voice. From what I understand, they're not going to be able to queue for ranked. So get smacked for the toxic players out there. Maybe just keep it to yourself, right? This is a good thing. Do you have any thoughts on this, brother?
there's a lot of dirty boys in the chat, dude.
Yeah. Indeed, there is.
A lot of nasty things have been said
A lot
in mini
of
Valorant
sounds.
games.
Yeah, a lot of sounds.
Well,
But
yeah. Not saying it's from you, but he was named Astro, and there were some dirty sounds that were made. It's just gonna be interesting for a fellow listener to be like, dude, I'm gonna play a match. He's in gold 2. and he queues up with Astro. and you'll know it's Astro by the first sound you'll hear from him.
Yeah.
You know what? Some men might like it.
Yikes, dude.
But dude, others might not.
Yeah.
You know? So
I mean, it could be considered it could be considered, something that you wouldn't want to hear, but I think overall, dude, the sounds I'm making in chat are greatly received, and it often boosts morale. So
yeah.
we'll just say that, but yeah, this is good, obviously, right? Get those players out. So dude, you guys gotta get here live, dude.
I know.
You gotta get here live. It's so
I feel like they're all
insane.
missing out.
Well, they are, right? They are. So I think now we're gonna start to dig into the meat of the starter pack 5000, as we've deemed it, and start to get into the fundamentals of playing a tactical FPS, but Valorant specifically. So, Rogan, it looks like we're gonna maybe get your first thoughts on transitioning and or starting tactical FPS, mainly Valorant. What's your first thoughts when it comes to unwrapping this package we have in front of us here?
Yeah, we've covered this quite a bit. I think like the transition into Valorant, I think we've made it pretty clear it's way different compared to Call of Duty. It's not a run and gun. So like people when they start playing Valorant, I think a lot of people get confused with all of the abilities, or they get overwhelmed by it, and they kind of like take their mind off of it being an FPS, right? Or they almost feel like they have to use their abilities. They feel like they can just run around a corner shooting. And they're not walking, they're just sprinting through. So from watching like my girlfriend play, I've kind of seen her like progression. It's been substantial too. Is that like seeing her first start out running around corners, making noise, and then just getting like headshot right around the corner. And now she's walking, like being more tactical, playing with your team, realizing the importance of making sound and then just staying silent, and how substantial that can be. But at first she always relied on her abilities. Like people feel like they have to throw that flash out. They feel like they just have to throw that and blind their entire team. But and it's almost a new, like when I first started playing Yuru, I just started playing him just a little bit. And I always like felt like I had to use his teleporter,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if you felt like this, but I always feel like I have to use his blind right away, or like use him all at once to get some insane combo or something. Yeah. But like it comes down to your abilities will help you, but it's not going to give you like a kill free, unless some ults and obviously some things, but there's times where it's like aiming does come before abilities. So
aiming
I would
trumps all, dude.
Yes. Aiming trumps all. I think so. When you first start, you're going to be smacked countless of times. It's not going to be an easy road. This is a problem with a lot of like hardcore FPS games. Like a lot of games like Rainbow Six Siege, where you just die right away, or a bunch of other games. Mm-hmm. Is that it's people who like just start getting into like FPSs, they don't like how they die so quick. So just stay at it. Don't let it wreck you, if someone's just calling you trash, don't let it get to your head. It's filthy. Yeah. It's so filthy.
Right. Yeah. For sure.
But it's just, you got to like make it an easy transition. It's pretty hard. But
yeah.
What's your take, man?
Well, before we get into that, dude, stop lingo with a raid, dude. Party of 2, let's go, dude.
Oh my gosh.
Let's go, brother. Get here live, right? That's the main topic of tonight.
Wait, we're at 2,000 viewers? Oh my gosh.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're working on it. Um, so guys, transitioning to Valorant or coming in fresh, um, it is a tactical first person shooter. I really I echo a lot of what Rogan spoke on. I am a small, humble, and feeble boy that grew up in the streets of Call of Duty, and so my mentality, not only coming from what the kids call the sticks, but also the transition of coming into Valorant has been really big. And I touched on it before, but I haven't gone as deep as I've wanted to. So I know that, there's a lot of boys coming from Call of Duty. Sorry, that's my phone, maybe my grandmother. A lot of boys are transitioning from Call of Duty, right? And I know some myself that have made that switch. And basically, guys, my tip here, not only Call of Duty, I know that Overwatch, Apex Legends, like there's so much movement that's happening. And that is just not something that's happening in Valorant. So basically, slow down would be my first note, my first tip. I know that you know, it's in your heart. The desire is there just to be sprinting, sprint, slide, canceling, jumping, dolphin diving, but this is just not the Valorant way. And you're gonna find that out pretty quickly. And honestly, dude, I had a coworker, a peasant rat, make the transition fairly recently, and he said like this is what made him stop playing at first because it was like hard for him to enjoy the game at a slow pace. Like he just said it was too slow for him.
Mhm.
So, and I understand that way of thinking. And I feel like the game just gets better and better as you play it. So I say give it a chance. Give it like, give it like at least 6 hours. And I think you'll start to change your mind because the pace of the game isn't that slow. It's just your movement is a lot different than the other games you might be used to. So, also the element of surprise is super huge in Valorant, like changing your positions. Um, and so it's like it's a little more. I mean, it's in the title, right? It's a tactical FPS. Like there's strategy involved more
Yeah.
than just like better aim. Like obviously aim trumps everything, like we were saying, but like if you're behind somebody and they don't know you're there, then aim the amount of aim you have lessens because you have a free shot on that person. So stuff
Yeah.
like that. Um so yeah,
I,
element of
I
surprise I would say
personally
is
don't
big.
I love aggressive games, being able to just run around a corner and shoot people. I don't like
Yeah.
slow games either, but I think Valorant has like a momentum like that builds up as like the round progresses, which I enjoy.
Yeah.
Like you have those moments where it's like a 1v3, your hands are shaking. I'm just dripping with
Yeah.
sweat. I'm
Just
stuck to
sweaty.
my chair just
Oh, your cheeks are just glued to that chair, dude. Just
yes.
literally sealed off by just a wet moisture, dude. That's
Okay,
what I
dude. Okay.
love, dude. Yeah, obviously
Well, not sure
rip
why
off
you would
those
love that,
undies.
but
Well, rip off the undies for, better gameplay, obviously.
well, yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's an obvious. Um, but yeah, guys, just treat it like take away, like don't just come in, crack a cold one. You had a long day of work. You come in, you crack a cold one, or you roast a hot one like I do, and you kind of just want to just nonchalantly enter a Call of Duty match like that. This is not the place, dude. It's not the place. You're gonna get angry because you're gonna get clapped, right? Because like Rogan's saying, you're gonna go up against a 13, maybe 14-year-old that's just drenched in sweat and he is just grabbing your cheeks, dude. And
Yeah.
he is just
Yeah.
slapping you. So keep that in mind when you're transitioning, that this is a very strategic game. So um you have some more notes maybe on on, what's going on in your ears. Like maybe sound is important. If you don't have any other thoughts on, the
Yeah.
transition, what are you thinking
Well,
here?
I think it's just going to be the rest of the episode is going to be more of a transition,
Yeah.
The sound cues are huge. So if you don't know Raze is ulting, you need to know.
Yeah. You're in trouble.
You're in trouble. If she's just blasting at you with a double satchel rocket launcher like every single Raze does, then you better run. Knowing the sound cues, so like Yuru, he just came out. I did not know where he was, like when he was teleporting, what sound cue his ult was. So it's like he's behind me when I don't even know, and I just thought like the sound cue was something else. Knowing those sound cues are really important. So if you actually if someone's defusing the spike and they get it halfway and they stop defusing, they defuse it again, there's a different sound cue for it. A lot of people probably know this, but it's a different sound cue, so someone knows if that's half, and they knows that someone like trying to retake the site, they know they don't have as much time because they might stick it.
They gotta get on the move, dude. They gotta get on the move.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
So like those little things like that help you out so much. Just like staying silent, man. It's so important. On if you're in heaven and you jump down and it's just a little bit of a sound, like they're gonna know you're there. The littlest of sound can give away your position. Some big tip that on your mini map, I've been using this quite a bit recently. There's actually like a circle around your character that shows exactly where people can hear you at.
That's
even like
huge.
So even when with my Omen teleport, and you teleport, the location you teleport to, the circle's actually smaller, so they can't hear where you're teleporting as easier as when you are, like from the location you are.
Yeah.
So just those little things like that, man. Sound cues are huge.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips on learning sound cues? It's kind of hard. It just like comes with time, I feel like.
You just have to feel it out, dude. You just got to feel it out because like there's like the first 4, 5, 10 hours that you're playing, you're going to be like, holy smokes, dude, that guy could hear me from that far away. Like you can hear people from very far away and very clearly too. So huge part of the game for the, search and destroy rats of the Call of Duty world. You're going to know this as well, right? Sound is big in a lot of shooters. This is not a new thing, but when you're on that Dollar Tree headset, you're going to be at a disadvantage, especially in Valorant. Again, because just like Rogan said, every single sound matters and it's giving away your position. Even like when you're, dropping off of a box or something, there's so many times that it's in if you're in a 1v1 situation, a 1v3, whatever, again, the element of surprise is going to be your only hope. Your main advantage is them not knowing where you are. So take the sound seriously. A big tip that a lot of new frogs might not know is if you are on a elevated box or what have you, and you're looking to drop down and you jump from the, said box and you're headed towards the ground, you can shoot your rifle and it's going to stop that dropping sound. It's going to counter the sound of you hitting the floor. And your opponent is not going to know that you dropped. They're just going to hear the shot. So that is actually, I've used it and it is effective. So there's a lot of little, things that you can get into.
You can do the same thing with Killjoy if you place a turret right when you drop down too.
Dude, great example, right? There's these little, and this is what we're talking about when it's it's just such a strategic game. Like you're not doing this stuff in Call of Duty. At least I wasn't, right? I was just running and just clapping kids. It's just way different. So if you're moving into this game, I mean, there's all these little tricks and nuances that, you can use and people are going to be using against you. That's going to, mess with your head.
Yeah.
So, and sound is one of them. So get a good headset would be my first thing.
Turn up that sound to max volume.
Dude, I play with 100% volume. Not even kidding. I'm maxed all the time.
Wow.
And then yeah. But I mean, it's just like we were saying, man, it's a big part of
Yeah,
the game. Like
it is.
even just telling
That shows it.
where bullets are coming from. Like if there's a smoke right in front of you and bullets are coming at you and you cannot see the tracers because they're running like a phantom or a ghost, you can tell like what side of the smoke the bullets are coming from just off of
Yeah.
the sound cue. And like that's gonna like change the decision that you make.
Yep.
So audio is huge. Yeah. Not too much to add there from me. Um,
If you hear
what do
it,
you?
call out audio cues too to your team.
Yeah,
It's like even like the littlest of audio that you hear can give away one person's position, so you know that guy's going to be there. You know, if you hear him on C, everyone's going A on Haven. You know he could possibly be flanking because you heard him like not run away or something.
yeah,
So, calling out to your team is really important. I think that kind of covers it for sound cues. I want to go over in-game settings. It's kind of this varies between different people, but I adjust my settings to just make it as clear as possible for me. If you have a trash PC, by the way, turn everything to the lowest you possibly can. You want as many frames as you possibly can do.
yep.
If you're running on a laptop trackpad, you want as much as you can get, I hope you're not,
Very true.
but I have seen some people do that. So,
dude, speaking of frames, we forgot something, dude. We'll save it till the end.
oh,
We'll save it till the end.
We'll save it to
Get
the
as
end.
Get as many frames as you can. Let's just keep rolling.
Yeah,
keep
that's
going.
big. Oh, that's big. Can't believe we missed that.
Yeah, it surprises me as well. But
so in every game, high settings does not mean that you're going to be able to see more or see more like detail. You're going to be able to see more detail, but it's just detail that's not important. You want to be able to see the lighting and just being able to see most clearly as possible. So I turn all my settings to off, everything off. VSync, a lot of people play with it on. I'm not sure why. VSync pretty much just matches your in-game FPS to your monitor. So like my monitor is 240 hertz. If I had VSync on, my game would only be running at 240 hertz. If I turn that off, and so I'm running at like 300 frames. The reason I do that is because sometimes games have little glitches and you get lag spikes. When you get those lag spikes and you have VSync on, it's at 240 and it's going to drop those frames. So you're going to actually be able to notice that. If I'm at 300, it drops frames. It doesn't go below 240, so it's not going to affect any gameplay. I mean, it's not going to be like huge, but like someone who's running like 144 like FPS monitor, you will be able to like tell way more better,
Yep.
And then I have the anti-aliasing. It pretty much just smooths out edges. A lot of people turn that completely off. I have it on because it just makes the game a little bit more pleasing to my eyes. When you first boot up Valorant, I would just go straight to your settings and then just like see what runs the best and see what's most comfortable for you. And that's pretty much it for, I turn off everything pretty much off, lowest settings just to get the most clarity. That's what I've found. I want to talk about enemy colors. The default is red. I know I showed you this picture, but there's a picture with two of them, with one enemy being yellow, one enemy being red.
Yeah, you did.
And
show me that.
the yellow
like
enemy,
the outline.
Yeah, the outline, and the yellow enemy you can honestly see like more clearly. I ran with that a little bit. I did. Yep. I do like the yellow enemy gang. On Icebox, however, I have found it's like certain maps. I've realized that I can't like tell. I can't see them as clearly.
Oh,
so really? I went back to red, but I would and then corpses too. You can turn off your corpses and it'll just display like an image on what agent they are.
Dude, okay, I've been wondering what that is because I've seen it on TikTok and everything. And I'm like, what in the heck is that, dude?
I have that off.
Well, yeah, that's huge, obviously.
I don't want to see the corpses. Well, because the lake can be blocking your view.
Well, exactly. Exactly. That body that I just dropped might interrupt the foot shot that I get on, the enemy
Exactly.
Phoenix or something.
Exactly.
But yeah, stop lingo also in the yellow enemy gang. That's nice. Nice to see. Um, Dude, one thing I wanted to add on like settings. If you do happen to be running a a absolute dog water PC, um, like I am, um, you know, what am I running, Rogan? Uh,
I
four
don't.
cores, four threads.
Yeah.
Is that see?
Yep.
So if you're part of that four core, four thread gang with me, dude, what
Well,
I found
I
helpful.
handed you my parts, my old computer parts, because I just fed you the little crumbs that you just
Well,
desired.
so what happened was I was Rogan, right? He gets on his hands and knees and he's just begging me to play a match of Fortnite with him, right? I'm like, dude, Fortnite is for children. I can't do it, so on and so forth, right? And so I get on the sticks because I have a PlayStation 3 at the time. And I'm just clapping kids, dude. Dude,
No,
Rogan,
you are not.
dude, Rogan can't handle the talent that
Oh
he's
my
seeing on the screen,
gosh.
dude. That is what
Dude.
was going on. And he's like, yo, Sea Dog, I need you on the keys now because what you're doing on the sticks is just unreasonable. And it's like, yeah, sure, dude. I'll take your parts, right? Because obviously you were in the middle of an upgrade. I was the perfect donor. And I am indeed thankful for your donation,
Well,
right?
I gave you
And
trash parts and charged you
well,
2,000, and I mean, made some profit there.
yeah, I definitely
So
got scammed, but
yeah.
of course he didn't charge me. That is fake news, of course. But yeah, that was very kind. But regardless, I did end up with a four core, four thread processing machine, right? And so
It's
what this results in
is
is
unable to have Discord open in Valorant at the same time.
I'm like trying to get in Discord with the boys, and I'm like looking at and Rogan's like, yo, pull up your your what do you even
Task
call it,
manager.
dude? I pull up my task manager, right? I've never pulled this up in my life, and he's running me through it, and it's like 100% processor usage. It's like in the red, and I'm like, Rogan, something is not good here. And I was experiencing, fat lag spikes. Like frames would go from 100 down to 30. It was just awful. So what I ended up doing was, of course, not getting on the Discord because my PC could not seem to handle it. But I put the frame rate cap. You can cap the frame rates, like where the game won't allow you to go over a certain amount of frames. And I put that at 144 because I have a 144 hertz 24-inch curved monitor. A beautiful thing, a beautiful sight. And so I just matched it to the hertz of the monitor. Again, Rogan came in clutch with the knowledge of how to do all this. So number one, get a friend that knows about PCs. Number two, you can put the cap to whatever your hertz are, and that, dude, it was insane. So that like brought the processing power, like the percent of usage went from 100 to like 40%. So that was big for me if you're really struggling with frames. But
Good tip. Good
that's
tip.
just
That did
that
help
was
you out a
just what
lot.
I mean, that was a really long route to try and get to what I wanted to say, but there you go.
You made it.
We did get some questions on sensitivity, brother. And I've been asked from one person, and you have been asked from a person as well. So I think that this is a hard topic to cover, but we're going to talk about it here. And I want your thoughts on both sensitivity and crosshair settings. So take it away, dude.
Um, yeah, it's hard, man. It's really hard because it's like some people just look up, the top pro Valorant players and just copy their sensitivity. of course, everyone has their own sensitivity that works best for them. It varies game to game, I would say. For example, I will never talk about this again, but Fortnite, you do need to have a higher sensitivity and DPI as well. So DPI is dots per inch. That's pretty much your mouse sensitivity to make it really simple. And then you have your in-game sensitivity. Every game is different. Every game is completely different. You can't go game to game and expect the same sensitivity, which sucks. So we have a link. We have a link called it's just an eDPI calculator. So eDPI is pretty much like a universal DPI for every game. So if you're coming from Fortnite, if you're coming from any other game, just look it up on the web, put in your DPI and your in-game sensitivity from the game that you're coming from into this, and then it'll show your eDPI, and then you can translate that to Valorant, and you can get that same sensitivity. So why I'm saying that is because you want the same sensitivity that you're used to. If you're going hard in Call of Duty and you have this one sensitivity, you can transfer that over game to game, and you have that muscle memory still. You want to build up that muscle memory as fast as you can, right? So what I found best to explain people to find the right deep sensitivity is to go in game in the practice range, and then being able to do a full 180 with like a swipe of your hand, or like with your mouse going across your mouse pad in a comfortable way. I would say that's like a pretty good like area that you want to start with. You're never gonna, turn your mouse, like you're never gonna do a 720 for trick shots.
You're never gonna snap that 200-degree.
Yeah, I mean, some high sensitivities work too. Like, there's some pro players that have insanely high sensitivities. The average is, Hiko. The average is like a lower sensitivity where it's like you just want to be comfortable with your own. So being able to do like 180 and then being able to be comfortable with like snapping up. I know I saw this video of this jet updrafting, and this guy couldn't move his mouse fast enough. He was a pro too. He couldn't move his mouse fast enough to get to his head. And like, I mean, yeah, he was a pro. So like in situations, his sensitivity is helping him out. But I think just one swipe of the hand doing like a 180 is a good place to start. And then Stop Lingo mentioned something in the chat. In the range, you can practice shooting and adjust sensitivity in real time. That is a huge thing that Valorant did. In the practice range, you can adjust it in game without even going to the settings. And you can just kind of move your mouse around through the bots and just start kind of just tapping them. And then if you're overcorrecting them, if your mouse is going past their heads when you flick over to them, like consistently over and over, you might want to lower it a tiny bit, and then you might be able to get closer to their heads each time you snap. There's so many different ways. I looked up a bunch of videos online. When I try to find my sensitivity, I'm running at 800 DPI on my mouse and 0.42 on my in-game sensitivity. I feel like that's pretty comfortable for me. I can pretty much do like a full 180. I'm also running the Logitech G Pro mouse. If you guys haven't heard our episode in the past,
it's the obvious choice.
Yeah, I mean it's the winner for sure.
It's a choice.
Just drop the 120.
Yeah,
it's worth it. We can go over Crosshair after you give your thoughts about the sensitivity. If you have anything else to add.
Yeah, nothing huge to add. This will take like 20 seconds. Lingo mentioned what I was going to say. Lingo, obviously in the chat, be here live, 7 p.m. Tuesdays. When I first started playing Valorant, this was pretty much the first game I ever played on PC in general. So a mouse was, I didn't have anything to go off of. And Rogan gave me this tip about, one motion, can I 180, right? And this is really good advice. Like I think that you want to play with the highest sensitivity that you can. I take this from like, okay, guys, you have to keep in mind I'm from controller, right? And when I would hop on the next Call of Duty or whatever I played, which was Call of Duty only, so I'd get into the next COD and I would put my sensitivity to the absolute max. Because the faster that you can spin 180, like the better you'll be to be able to like turn on somebody. If you end up getting shot from behind and they miss their first shot, I mean, if you can snap back and, even do some damage or get the kill, I mean, that's ideal, right? Obviously, this is a lot different. You're probably going to be dead if someone's behind you, but I think that the one sweep to 180 rule is a very good start. And then, as Lingo said, I went into the range for a very long time, as long as you possibly can. And then, when you're starting out, just make drastic changes, and that will kind of get you in a ballpark of where you feel comfortable. Like, put the bots on medium and just kind of like make these big changes and feel what you like. So I was at, 0.3 and then I would go up to 0.9, and it's like kind of a good idea just to keep running practice rounds and just trying to flick onto, the bots. And like Rogan said, if you're just going way over in a natural motion, then bring it down. And then you can make minute changes as you go. I as well put my DPI to 800, courtesy of, Rogan's advice. I just copy him, right? Because he is in fact significantly better. So 800 DPI, and then my sensitivity is 0.6. So quite a bit higher than Rogan's, but that just kind of goes to show it's like whatever you feel comfortable with is great. But
Yeah.
I think Rogan is right. A slower sensitivity has been known to increase accuracy, and I think that's more factual than theory.
Definitely playing at like a high sensitivity that you're comfortable with is important, though. Because you want to be able to rotate as fast as possible. Like I'm going to be slower than Hiko.
Don't lift your mouse.
Yeah.
Like lift your mouse as little as possible, I feel like.
If you're lifting your mouse like 4 times doing a 180, I mean, you're not going to make it, I don't think.
Dude, on your fourth, when you're lifting off of your mouse pad for the 4th time, I'm already teabagging you. Right? I've already grabbed the op that you had, and I'm just slowly but surely just dropping down. So
that pinky finger is just caressing that control button.
Dude, it's just
over.
It's just tapping the shift, not shift, the crouch. So I say I agree. Play on a higher sensitivity that you can get around 180 one sweep. Make that a rule, and we can move on.
One big thing I want to talk about before we move on is mouse acceleration. Mouse acceleration it's pretty much just like if you move your mouse slower, your DPI or sensitivity is going to be slower.
Yeah.
Windows computers, so pretty much every computer, they automatically have mouse acceleration enabled. So if you go to your settings and then you go to mouse settings, additional mouse settings, pointer options, there's going to be a checkbox there saying enhance pointer precision. Disable that. It's a huge difference. You pretty much will be able to tell your mouse completely change. It gets rid of that acceleration. You don't want acceleration because you want to have the same sensitivity throughout your entire time of moving your mouse.
You just want consistency, baby.
Yes.
Consistency, dude.
Yeah.
Very good tip. Good tip. See, this is why Rogan is better than me, right? Because this is very commonplace that he would have technical advice.
I got on your computer and threw that mouse acceleration to the max.
Right. See, look at that, dude. Lingo, back in the chat again.
Wow, Lingo. You dirty boy.
Let's go, dude. Lingo, prepare to both rank up and have better in-game experiences. Be here live. 7 p.m. Tuesdays. Um, anything else as far as it's guys, sensitivity is gonna be personal preference, and that's why we haven't covered this in the past. So you have to just get in the range and figure it out.
Yep.
But use the 180
Take the
rule.
time. And keep it the same. Don't change it substantially every time. Don't switch to a low to a high.
Unless you're me, right?
You can do little changes though.
Sucker.
Well, you're. I mean,
yeah.
Why did you place in the silver?
Yeah,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was sensitivity, dude.
Well, yeah. Now you're an animal.
Yeah.
Pro
let's
settings,
move
right?
on here. I think
this kind of goes. Well, yeah, we got the order wrong here.
We're going into crosshair settings, you peasant.
Well, before we move on to crosshair, pro settings. So I don't copy. You don't have to copy exactly what every single pro player uses, but prosettings.net it shows what the top tier players use, like their in-game settings and all of that stuff, and they want the most clear as possible. They want all their settings to be pristine. They take the time to put their work in finding the best settings. So if you want to just head to that website, it is useful. I found it very useful. It shows their gear, very detailed stuff, very up to date. Prosettings.net, no spaces. Just check that out. I think it'll help you find some settings that you should change.
Yeah.
Oh, crosshairs.
That eDPI site is also very informative. And there's other sites like this where you can plug in your sensitivity from one game and it'll cross over to Valorant. So keep that in mind.
Yep. Dude, this thing about crosshair reminds me of the Ask Valorant question.
Yeah, me too.
On the guy just asking if they're able to disable the crosshair.
Because
so no one can see
fun of.
Yeah. Of their crosshair.
Yeah. I again got asked IRL to go through some crosshair talk. So again, guys, a lot of opinions start flying around here. And so keep that in mind as we tread the waters of, the crosshair settings. I personally, and I know Rogan as well, take the movement error and the firing error off. So this is a visual cue around your crosshair that when you are moving, your crosshair will bloom like it is the beginning of spring, letting you know that you won't be accurate during this time that you are, in fact, blooming, as they say. So, again, movement error, firing error off. That is what I run. I know it's what majority of, pro players run. They run this as well, but there are some that, have firing error on. So keep that in mind. So I think that most often it would be safe to say that a smaller crosshair will be more precise. Would you say the same, brother?
Yeah. Yep, for sure. I think it's kind of proven.
This has kind of been the common trend to have a small, nimble, fine crosshair, because when you're playing, the avatar that you are shooting at, it's a small head that you're shooting for. So if you have a behemoth of a crosshair, that's just being swung around your screen, it is not easy to see that head that you're trying to see because, you have this fat, juicy crosshair dangling on your screen. So I've seen some fat crosshairs and I've seen them used well. But I think in general, when you're first hopping in for the first time, a smaller crosshair will be better for aiming. What do you have to say about that, Rogan?
Yeah, for sure. I also agree. Smaller crosshair, better for your aim. a lot of pro players, they don't want to see their crosshair because they are just so used to having that muscle memory and they know exactly where like the center of their screen is. Just like having a tiny like visual cue of where it is. That's all they use. For like starting out players, I would get your crosshair to have outlines, like a dark black outlines, just really small. It just makes your crosshair outline so you can see it more clearly. I think it just makes it easier to aim and know where you're shooting at. I think the outlines help. Also, the color of your crosshair. So, what color do you use, Colter, again?
So I am running just a center dot, and this is in the color of red. So
Okay.
red to me, there's no maps except maybe bind. Bind has some oranges, but there's no red on really any of the maps that I can think of.
Do you keep the enemy red?
No, the enemy is yellow.
Okay, good. I was a little worried for you.
Yeah, enemy yellow, crosshair red for me. Provide that red dot provides like quite a bit of contrast for me. I have tried multiple colors and I've settled on red being, what I can pick up the most.
Yeah. Having a crosshair that stands out like for the maps is really important too.
A lot of people use like turquoise.
I use turquoise too.
Okay, yeah. Do you have like lines like a normal crosshair? Or are you
I have lines. I don't go dot.
Okay.
You kind of use the basic crosshair with just a small gap in the middle. I think I played CS:GO obviously, and I had the exact same crosshair from there, so I kind of just moved it over.
Perfect. My advice, guys, here is to just look up, some of your favorite Valorant pro players. And there's always going to be, data on what their crosshair settings are. And I would say figure out if you want to just run the center dot or if you do want lines, and then make them as small as you can handle with, still being able to, keep them to track it easily. So,
yeah.
That's my advice on the crosshair. Keep it small. That's the takeaway here. So what are we moving on to next here, dude? Maybe some, again, in keeping in mind, moving on to Valorant. We apologize. This podcast is running a little long. But some good starting agents to use when you're first getting into Valorant. We both have an opinion here. This is the final topic this evening. Rogan, I'm going to let you go first. If you have a friend getting into Valorant, what are you recommending they play as an agent?
So I also agreed what you said for your agent, what you thought the best agent would be. I kind of just chose a different agent because I wanted to keep, two choices. I think Brim is a decent choice for someone who is beginning. He has, so the reason being is he has a lot of utility that helps out his teammates without completely sabotaging them. I think Skye can really screw your team up with with her flashes if you don't know how to play her. So for Brim,
don't play a flash, dude.
Yeah, don't play a flash.
Don't play a flash.
And if you are, play Phoenix at minimum.
Minimum, dude, please.
Minimum. He's hot.
You're gonna get a lot of hate, dude.
Yeah. Yep. You're not gonna want to play the game.
But continue.
I say Brim because no one he's not that person who everyone looks to about getting kills. If you're playing a duelist and people are just screaming at you, if you're on the bottom of the leaderboard, it's not really fun. I think it kind of gets some stress off of you.
Yeah.
If someone is worried about that, his stim gives his his allies some abilities to use. In that low elo, the stim is probably a lot more helpful than in the pro games, I would say. His smokes are extremely long, and when he does smoke, it pulls up a map of where he can smoke. So having that map and being able to smoke, it can kind of like help you learn the maps quicker, I think. You're like, oh, okay, I'm placing this right here. Where is this going to relate onto my map? Oh, it's right there. I think
that's
you
a
just
good little side note. I never thought of that. Yeah.
And then he also has his Molly, which is another. It's a really good, plant like a post plant situation, and it does do damage. It does benefit you, and it's pretty easy to use. There's nothing like too crazy about it.
Right.
I don't know. A lot of people say play Duelist when you're first starting out. I think they just don't really. They're sometimes are hard to play. You go like off and on. Like Reyna, you have to get a kill to use any of her abilities.
Yeah, very true.
So I think starting with a character where you can kind of play like on the back or like middle of the group, kind of like go off for on trades. Because you're not gonna have the greatest aim if you're just starting. So like benefit, like think about that. Like, hey, I'm not gonna be able to out aim this Iron 2, I'm an Iron 1.
Yeah. Right.
So I would like,
yeah, I see that.
I would say Brim. I haven't really played Brim that much, but I think he's a decent choice if you're first starting out.
You're not a 45-year-old male, right, with a beer gut, so of course you have to play Brim.
Well, yeah. I mean, for the new Valorant players, they might be like that.
Yeah, we got some dads in the analytics, so we know you're out there,
dude. So I know you chose Cypher. My sister, your girlfriend, she has started out Cypher, and you have seen her change.
Yeah. So this, I mean, I've said it before, and I'll say it again, boys. I think that Cypher is a great choice. I was the one that, kind of nursed your sister towards the Cypher pick.
Okay, Colter, dude. That's a little too much, man.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that's my sister. I don't want to really know what nursing entails, but
yeah, we let's not get awkward here. It's kind of awkward no matter what.
Yeah.
I guided. I suggested she play Cypher, and I would suggest, the next person to play Cypher as well. And I just think, no, in all seriousness here, I think that Sentinels are one of the easiest ways to bring value to your team. Like you could have the motor skills of Joe Biden and still bring value as Cypher. That was a joke, dude. I'm joking, dude. Okay, I'm kidding. That is grounds for a lot of backlash, and it was a straight joke, right? We don't want to get political in here, as it could get nasty, right? There's there are rough times out there, but what I'm saying is, if you're frail, if you have never held a mouse before, if you're at high risk for heart attacks, heart disease, any kind of condition that you're facing. I don't know where I'm going with this, dude. Playing a Sentinel is easy to bring value because of their abilities. Their abilities are literally geared for this. A Sentinel will give information for free while slowing down the opponents.
Yeah.
Most likely, right? You think of Cypher, the tripwires, very easy to use. You set them and forget them, right? Then they pop up on your screen, bright orange, you know where they're at. So, and meanwhile, you're obviously making comms through your Dollar Tree headset. If that tripwire was destroyed, if your camera was destroyed, etc. So I think that Cypher can get a lot of information for free without risking your own life. And that is why I would suggest it to a beginner. This moves along with Killjoy, although I think her setups are a little more advanced. I think that you need to have a little more of an idea of what's going on in the game to play Killjoy correctly. I just feel like Cypher, you can hide behind a box, throw the camera, and you're looking at the whole site,
Yeah.
and you can make call outs this way and stay alive a little bit longer. Cyber cages are going to take you a little bit to get used to, but I think with time, you can get a hold of those fairly easily as well. It is worth noting the first agent that I played was Raze, and I think that I managed to move into Valorant fairly smoothly playing Raze, and it's just because of how obvious her abilities are. They're super simple outside of the satchel charges. So she has a grenade, right? Someone's in that corner, you can throw the grenade there. It's very simple. There's nothing complicated about it, right? You hear the bomb being planted, you throw the grenade. You hear the bomb being diffused, you throw the grenade. Same goes with the boom bot, right?
Yeah.
It's a homing device that is going to seek out your enemy, and that's information as well, right? You think someone might be in that corner, throw the boom bot there. It's going to let you know. So agents like this, my two picks here are number one, Cypher, number two, Raze, just because their role is very obvious. Like you were saying with some duelists, or even smokes, dude. It's just you can do some type of harm with those
Yeah, you
agents, like
can.
taking away vision that your team needs. Like you do it on accident, you don't know the flow of the map, etc. It can kind of get a little gross, like Reyna, like you mentioned. She needs to be getting kills to really get value out of her utility. It would have been better off for you to just throw a tripwire behind you so you would know if someone's flanking you rather than playing Reyna for the first time, swinging out and getting killed, right? You brought more value to your team with that tripwire there. So I think that's where I stand, is either Cypher, a Sentinel in general, or Raze.
Yeah.
Um,
I would say
that's where I
my
stand.
second pick would be Sage. I think I've just seen a lot of people who don't know how to play her wall up areas that almost like lose the round for them. If you do start out with Sage, you can just wall off like right away on defending, wall off any site or just an area where enemies go through, and then that'll provide some help, And then her slow orbs are not that hard to use; they're pretty like simple. So I would say yeah, Sage and Brim. I think it varies, man.
Awesome.
If you don't find any interest in Sentinels, play Raze, play Brim. Just switch it up.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That about, man, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I want to add into the Getting Into Valorant podcast that we're running. I don't know if I have really much else to add. Do you have any final thoughts here on any advice?
Well, it's it's not a Call of Duty game.
Yeah, I think that's the main takeaway here, dude.
I think that's kind of what it is. I think a lot of games are like that.
It's like chess, dude.
Yeah.
Chess. And like just reading your opponents. Like if they're doing the same thing round after round, you have to use that against them. That's how you're going to win.
You have a lot more that you can use. Like you have so much info that you can use to win your round, Like the audio cues, like any sort of sound, any like the little like things that we told you if you shoot right when you land on the ground, blocking your noise, or if you use a killjoy turret. Getting your sensitivity to what you want is really important. Making sure that mouse acceleration is off. Dude, just like, I think it just goes with the little things, Just doing your research. These games, they have so many, there's a bunch of agents. They have different abilities. They're played differently. So you have to just do your research to figure out on how they do work. Because I have times where like I can't get better with an agent unless I just like watch a pro play Omen, Like see what he does.
Totally. No, watch the people that are playing the game the best.
like why are they the best? It's because they know how to play the game,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they obviously don't know as much as us, and we're
obvious. They're
savages.
They're like the pros are more like the King's Guard, right? We keep them close, but they're not sleeping, in the same size of bed that I am, obviously. There's a lot more honor and glory that comes my way. One thing that we probably didn't pound enough, but it is running long, so I'm going to just touch it, is you just got to remember that it's a team game. And communication is way bigger than anything else, in
Yeah.
my opinion. Um, you have to make call outs and don't be shy on the comms, right?
Yep.
And I think that that's pretty big. So, it's a team game. Think of it as a team game, and make every single call out you can.
Even
So,
even the upper tiers, they just don't play as a team. That goes for everyone.
yeah, that's I mean just
You're gonna
advice
get
across the
yeah,
board.
for sure.
But for that kid that came from Call of Duty that usually played dubstep while he gamed, don't do that here just because it's not going to be fun. So
Quick tip.
unless
Quick tip for deathmatch. Sorry, if you have
yeah,
something to
no
say,
go.
go for it. But
I don't. I'm rambling, dude. We need to wrap this up. Go.
just for like warm ups or something, or just getting better if you're gonna go into deathmatch. I saw this one guy say that just disabling your audio, running that master volume to the lowest it can go, not being able to hear a thing, and going in deathmatch is actually almost you're gonna get more benefits out of that because in deathmatch everybody just sprints. In a like not in a single like competitive game will you have someone running a corner where you can hear them and just sprinting like just
Right.
shooting at you.
Dude, true, man.
So if you just
Very
disable
clean
that
advice, dude.
audio, it makes you check every single corner. And then when someone's shooting behind you, you see a bullet trail and you're just gonna flick, like you can kind of like get more game sense to tell where they're doing. So
Yeah.
like disable the master volume, play that dubstep, and just go ham.
Yeah.
That's what
On
I've
the
been doing,
deathmatch,
and
of course.
it does help. Yeah. Yeah. Not in anything else. I think that
Very
covers
true.
it, man. That's all I have to add.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. We touched on, the settings as far as, what we're running for graphics, etc. Crosshair. I do want to touch on the iTunes reviews before we totally get out of here. Um, so we did get 2 iTunes reviews and we appreciate it. Now, I wish you guys could understand how little I know about anything digital. So I don't actually know how to see like the account that wrote these reviews. So I will perhaps shout you out later. I mean, there's no promises on that, but we did get 2 reviews and I want to share them here. You know who you are. So review number 1, the title is GOAT, right? GOAT. We all know what it stands for. The GOAT of Valorant podcasts on the internet. And so thank you to the user, that give us that 5-star rating. Thank you for the analytics, brother. The second one here, looking at it, says the best Valorant podcast out there. Again, I don't know who this is from, but it is a self-proclaimed fellow peasant. So he is, of course, a part of our village. 5-star review. Thank you for the analytics. A great listen for anyone who plays Valorant, and very, very true. So we appreciate the iTunes reviews. Keep sending in questions on Instagram. It's super cool to see them. And if we get enough, like we sound like a broken record here, but we will bust out a second episode a week if we get enough questions. So if you guys want to see that, don't hesitate to drop some questions or what you want us to talk about. Any advice, what you want us to change, if you want me to kick Rogan off the pod, etc. We can make things happen. Guys, the news that we were going to cover actually is I spent around $840 over the weekend to upgrade the PC, just as a parting thought here. So I will be streaming in the coming days. So we did get the Ryzen 9 3900, obviously, which is probably more than I needed, but we got the motherboard. So, right, I'm no longer going to be running the 4-core, 4-thread situation. We got the motherboard. Rogan said it's more than I need, and then of course I got the Trident Z Royal RAM because I am obviously royalty, especially among Stop Lingo. Let's go, dude. Let's go indeed. Boys need to get here live because it is just banging in the chat. So that's my final thought. I will be streaming. Rogan, take us out of here. Brother, it's been a good podcast.
Dude, it's been a great podcast.
Dude. Spicy, dude. Amazing. Dude, let's go. Yeah.
Anyone who's tuning in right now, feel free to stay after the stream. We can answer questions as well. Definitely submit your messages. I think Colter and I would love to do 2 episodes a week. You know, we can just throw out like a 30-minute episode covering a bunch of questions that you guys have. I think we're down to do the research. We're down to do whatever. Yeah, man. I'm excited for your PC. I think your parts have came in, right?
Dude, the glorious RAM was just blessed upon my doorstep this evening.
Did you look at it?
Of course I didn't look at it, dude.
I
had to get to the villagers, dude. They're clamoring from down below, right? I can hear them
climbing on top of each other.
Just climbing on top of each other, trying to get maybe just a little better view of my glorious just jawline, dude. Just the jawline will just cut you like a knife, dude. People need to get here live and just see this, dude. But yeah, so I haven't looked at it yet. It was my point, but it will indeed be glorious as it is, polished aluminum heat sinks.
Wow.
And a bejeweled RGB.
I'm excited for that.
So
I'm excited.
It'll be clean.
Well, you guys have been listening to the Flow State Gaming Podcast, episode 13, where Colter has grown into a man. You know, you've really reached a different type of maturity level. And I'm proud for you. Yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed. Please submit Apple reviews. Follow us on Twitch and Instagram. Instagram, Flow State Gaming Official. It has been an honor and a pleasure. Not sure what Colter's doing right now, but it has been a good one. See you guys later. What was that, dude?
Bye.